does that occur in the portion that goes east to west, or is there a portion that runs north and south?
There's a section, it runs east to west, and then there's a tunnel that comes off at a perpendicular angle going to the north along the freeway.
Let me show you that. Say it's 172. Is that the portion that goes, as you've described, the perpendicular that runs north and south, literally underneath 95?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And looking at Stage 173, is that north and south running portion of that tunnel?
Yes.
And there seems to be some ladder runs, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Stage 174, is that a close-up of that?
Yes.
And then 175 was blood found on the ground in the area that we just spoke of, the north and south running portion?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, in the statement, you just discussed how the defendant addressed the issue with self. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Did he also address the issue or his interaction with Michaela?
Yes.
All right. I want to direct your attention and counsel's attention to pages 48 and 49 of what should be in front of you, and I don't remember the number, but it states exhibit. Second, do you have the exhibit?
I have. You want the exhibit, the full?
Yes. Yes. What's the number? No, I'm sorry.
182.
Thank you. So 182 is the defendant's statement, correct?
That is correct.
All right, so we're going to go to pages 48 and 49 of that. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you're asking, and you and Rob Wilson and your partner are asking about what happened with Michaela.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did he give an answer towards the bottom of the page on 48, where there's questions, did you, same thing, was it vaginal? Was his answer yes, sir?
Yes, sir. It was yes, sir.
And then the follow-up was there anything else?
Yes.
Could you read to us the answer that starts on 48 and goes on to 49?
Answer: no. But her, I didn't like be serious. I didn't rape her. Like, seriously. Like, I was trying to, but like I was just there, just like stuck. I was just there, just like she was like, I knocked her out unconscious, like I choked her out, and she was there. Like, I took off like her pants. Then I was like, dude, like, so then I took off my pants. I was trying to get hard to stick it in, and I couldn't.
Okay.
So
there was a portion where he was not able to actually place his penis inside of her vagina.
that's correct.
But he's indicating that he was trying to.
Yes, sir.
And that corroborated what you heard from Michaela as far as he had tried to rape her, but at first he couldn't.
That's correct.
And then on that same page 49, did you ask some further questions?
Yes, I did.
And towards the bottom of that page, was there an A for answer that's a good portion of the bottom of the page?
Yes, sir.
Could you read that, please?
Sure. Answer. And like she was just there. And all right, I choked her out. She was there. I was right in front of her. She was like right there with her. I opened her up and I was like, man, like, you know, I want her. Like, have sex. Rape her, really. I hate saying that because that's what I really am. Like, really, you guys. I just tried like I couldn't. I don't know why. And I was there for like at least 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just right there. Just like not knowing what to do. I'm like, what the hell? Then she wakes up. Then she's like, what the hell? And then she gets all scared. She's like, don't rape me, please. Don't rape me. I'm a virgin. Please don't rape me. And I'm like, I'm not just like, I don't know, suck my dick or something. So she sucked me up, and then I get back up, and then she gets all her clothes on, and then I'm like, hold on. And then we hear kids coming, and I guess that's her friends or something, because she was, I'm guessing, just...
Did you go on to the next page, page 50?
Guessing she's probably meeting up with her friends or something. and like they come and I go farther into the tunnel. So I'm trying to like get out of there. So I'm taking her kind of like hostage. I'm like, come on this way, and she comes, and she doesn't. She's not yelling or nothing. She just comes along. So then like, fuck, I can't get out of there. Like they're over there. She doesn't know, but they're yelling her name. What were they yelling? Kayla? Kylie?
Okay. So that information is what the defendant told you in his statement to you, correct?
That is correct.
And you have reviewed the reports associated with Michaela's incident as well.
Absolutely.
Does that corroborate the information that Michaela had given?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, as a part of the investigation, when the search was done of the defendant's home, we talked earlier about the search inside of the attic. Was there also a search for computers?
Yes, sir.
Was there a search warrant obtained to seize those computers and then search those computers?
Yes, sir.
And as a result of that, were some of those computers sent to the forensic lab for an analysis of those computers?
They were.
And in the process of doing that analysis, is there a way to determine what's being searched, what pictures are being saved, and things of that nature?
Yes, they will go on and copy everything.
And then, did you review the reports from the computers recovered from the defendant's home?
I did.
And in those reports, does it have an indication that on May 25th of 2009, the compact computer recovered from the defendant's home was doing certain short searches, and there were 12 shortcuts associated with those searches?
Yes, sir.
All right. And so for context purposes, this incident with Summer was on May 19th of 2009. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And then this search that was found on that computer has activity from May the 25th of 2009.
Yes, sir.
And what were the 12 shortcuts? Those were the searches done on that computer.
May 25, 2009, at various times throughout the day, 12 shortcuts were identified as follows. Battery, legal definition of battery. Battery synonymous by the Free Outline Law Dictionary. Battery, tort, punishment. Yahoo. But I didn't do it. Protecting the rights of juveniles during interrogation. Fourth Amendment to the United States Constitution, Wikipedia, the Free Encyclopedia. House arrest, definition from answer. Kidnapping, Wikipedia. Miranda warnings, Wikipedia. Probation. ReviewJournal.com. News. Judge sidesteps plea deals. Sends 311 boys to jail. Self-help. Getting an adult criminal conviction removed. Self-help. Self-help. Getting legal help. Last. Types of rape. Wikipedia. The Free Encyclopedia.
These searches were performed on May 25th of 2009 on the computer recovered from the defendant's house, which is 6 days after the incident with Summer.
That's correct.
Okay. Now, was there further analysis of those computers which actually showed some activity that occurred just after or hours after Alyssa's death?
Yes, sir.
Specifically on September the 3rd of 2011 at 7:45. That's a.m. Is that correct, Detective?
Yes, 0745.
Was there a search done on the JAVII 702 YouTube account?
Hobby 702.
And was that a search for a rap artist named Necro?
Correct.
And what's the title that he searched?
Dead body disposal.
Then, in that same analysis of those various computers that were recovered, there were multiple computers recovered, is that correct?
Yes.
And there was analysis done of them all.
Yes.
And is there actually an indication of a lack of activity during a certain time period?
Yes, sir.
Specifically, was there, as it was described, a noticeable absence of Google Chrome history activity on 9/2 of 2011 between 17:54, so that's what, 5:54 p.m.?
Correct.
And 21:51 hours.
Which is 9:51 p.m.
So there's no activity going on the computers at that time period?
That's correct.
All right. And speaking about some other activity on the computers, Is there what's referred to kind of as a cache or a collection of the different things that are searched?
Yes, sir.
And specifically focusing on April of 2011, on April the 21st of 2011, was there a search dealing with neighbors being fearful?
Yes.
What was the search?
Do you want to get reference to the form? It's on April 21st, 2011. And the search is neighbors fearful as rape eludes capture. Neighbors fearful as rapist eludes capture. Las Vegas News Story, KBDU, Las Vegas.
All right, for review purposes, Michaela's incident occurred on March the 8th of 2011, is that correct?
That is correct.
So this search was done in April 21st of 2011.
That's correct.
And in your interview with the defendant, did he indicate to you that he knew that police were looking for him associated with Michaela's incident?
Yes, he saw the flyers everywhere.
Tell us about the flyers.
He said the flyers were put up everywhere, that it looked just like him, and he couldn't even come out of his house because the flyers are everywhere. At some point, he was trying to take the flyers down.
Okay. So sticking with that general time period, on April the 21st of 2011, was there also another internet search via Chrome entitled Durango US 95 Bridge Kidnap, Google search?
I'm sorry, where are we again?
So it was April 21st of 2011, 8:12 and 51 seconds, page 6 of 14.
Okay. Durango US 95 Bridge Kidnap, Google search.
So there was that search again after, in time, the incident with Michaela.
That is correct.
Okay. Can I approach with this?
You may.
Showing you state proposed 208, and ask you if you recognize what that is.
Sorry, dude.
Okay, is this a printout of a portion of the computer analysis that we've been talking about?
It is.
Does it indicate the sites that were visited?
Yes, it does.
Does it indicate the time that they were visited?
Yes, it does.
And again, this is from the same computers recovered from that house.
It is.
Move for the admission of States 208.
Any objection? It's in order.
Detective, showing you the first page of States 208, is there a picture of the defendant?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right underneath that, is there a search for some pornography?
Yes, file was created September 2nd, 2011 at 5:55 and 7 seconds p.m.
Now, the information that we had, that was that Alyssa had texted her mom, what, about 6:30ish?
6:38.
Okay. So this is just before that last text to her mother,
That's correct.
within that time. Now, going on to the next page, staying with September the 2nd of 2011 at 5:56, was there further searches for pornography?
Yes, this one is for www.cometrainer.com.
And then underneath the particular site, are there videos that can be searched or pulled up?
There is.
Going to page 99, it's paginated 99 on the top right corner.
Yes, sir.
Page 208, do you see where I am?
I do.
All right, so on September the 2nd of 2011 at 3:18 p.m., what was the site that the defendant was searching?
www.rapesection.com.
And there are photos underneath that, is that correct?
There are.
What are some of the titles for those that can be accessed on this website?
Kidnapped and D, or degraded. 2 young girls attacked in D, degraded. 18-year-old attacked in D, degraded. Kidnapped in D, degraded. Kidnapped from street and D, degraded.
And this was, again, the day of Alyssa's murder at 3:18 p.m.
Correct.
Going to page 101, again on States 2008, do we have some activity on the computer on September the 2nd, 2011 at 3:22 p.m.?
There is.
And what was the title of that site?
fuckher@tinygirl.com.
And were there
Toy slave.
were there videos below that could be accessed?
Yes, there are.
And what were some of the titles of those?
Young and abused and D, degraded. Young schoolgirl, D, degraded. Young girl attacked and D, degraded. 18-year-old attacked and D, degraded. Young girl degraded by soldiers outdoor.
Okay. Detective, let's turn to the next page, page 102, again, still states 208. Was there another search done at on September 2nd, 2011, at 3:40 p.m. in the afternoon?
There is.
And what were some of the titles that could be accessed on that?
Cute girl gang D, degraded. Teenager is D, degraded. 18-year-old attacked and D, degraded. Teenager stripped naked in public.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we know from that computer analysis that these sites were visited just a few hours before she was killed.
Not a few hours. We're talking less than a few hours.
Thank you very much. Class witness.
Thank you. Cross-examination.
Just thank you, George. Good afternoon, hello again, Detective.
How are you?
Good, thank you. You heard on direct examination quite a bit about how, in speaking with Mr. Packle, Javier was attempting to not make the Summer Horton incident sexually motivated, correct?
Yes, he was trying to minimize what he did.
Okay. Do you know legally why it's important whether or not something is deemed sexually motivated?
Sure.
What is it?
Sexual offenders will get placed in a file for sexual offending.
And at the time of this, what year was the Summer Horton incident?
It was May 28th of 2009.
So Javier would have been 17.
That's correct.
And when you spoke to him on September 5th, he came out and told you, look, I tried to make it not sexually motivated, but it was, correct?
That's what he said, yes.
And I think to quote his words, I'm basically a sex offender.
That's correct.
And you didn't have to use any of those techniques we discussed a couple days ago to extract that information from Javier, right?
That's correct.
Now, on page 46 of the Michaela Kitchen case,
Page 46 of her case?
I'm sorry, page 46 of the statement, in discussing Miss Kitchen, he says at the top of page 46, I mean, it was me, sir, right?
Yes.
And then, now, at this time, Javier hadn't been given, say, Michaela Kitchen's statement to police, right? He hadn't been given that.
Her statement that she made?
Correct.
No, he hadn't been given that.
Right. And what he then did, as delineated by Mr. Pesci on pages 48 to 50, is in great detail describe what occurred, correct?
Yes.
And in fact, it eerily matched what we heard this morning.
Yes.
Clearly, he's not minimizing there. Fair?
In this statement?
Yes.
In that section? I would say that's true.
Now, it would be fair to say that the unfortunate happenings to Miss Horton and Miss Kitchen occurred, and Alyssa, occurred in Las Vegas, Nevada, right?
That's correct.
And you are a very learned detective for the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, correct?
Sure.
So he then even tells you about a rape and kidnapping that he committed, not in the United States, but in Mexico, correct?
That's correct.
And if I could refer you to page 57 of his statement, he states in the middle, I just kidnapped her and raped her, correct?
That is correct.
Now, these aren't files that you as a Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Detective can just pull up on some computer, right?
Which files are you referring
If
to?
there was a case in Mexico
Oh.
involving a rape.
No.
Court's indulgence? Again, thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you, I apologize, I forgot an incident. Staying with that same statement, if you could go to page 108. Did you and Detective Wilson ask if there was anybody else?
Yes, sir.
And so we talked about Summer, we talked about Michaela, we talked about Alyssa, we just discussed with you Perla. Was there also someone, his words, a Puerto Rican chubby girl, as he described her?
There was one like Puerto Rican chubby girl, yes. Blackish, whitish.
And did he indicate that he sexually assaulted her as well?
In the Towns, yes.
Thank you very much.
Anything else for Detective?
No, thank you, Detective.
Thank you very much for your testimony for today. You may step down. Please remain subpoena. And you may call your next witness.
State Code Megan and Trumbo?
These are two exhibits.
Thank you.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. And thank you. Please be seated. Could you please state and spell your name for the record?
Megan Otremba, MEGANOTREMBA.
Thank you.
How old are you?
I'm 19.
Back in May of 2009, I'm sorry, September of 2009, how old were you?
In 2009?
2011,
Oh,
sorry.
I was 14.
Okay. On September the 2nd of 2011, did you go to school that day?
I did go to school.
And where were you going to school?
Harborview High School.
At that time, was your sister also a student at Harborview High School?
Yes, she was.
What grade were you in?
I was in 9th grade.
What
So
grade?
I was a freshman.
What grade was she in?
She was in 10th grade.
Were the two of you new to the school?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we lived on base, and
When you say base, you mean
the Nellis Air Force Base, yes. And so we moved to the other side of town so that we could go to Arborview. It was a really good school, and I was in band, so they had a great band program that I could be a part of.
On the day of September the 2nd, your sister, did she stay home?
Yes, she did.
Do you know why?
Well, the night before we actually had, we were both in the marching band, and we had a football game that we had to go to, and we were staying out really late. And so we got home kind of late, so when she woke up the next morning, she was tired and she didn't feel good. So she stayed home.
All right, so was it a Thursday night football game?
Yes.
Okay. And you were both in that band?
Yes.
Okay. And you went to school and she stayed home?
Mm-hmm.
Is that yes?
Yes, I'm sorry.
It's okay. After school, what happened when you got home?
My mom, I don't know if she was there at the time or if she had left. She was going to CSN, and there was some issue that she had to deal with. So the three of us were home, and Alyssa, she needed a math textbook from her friend. So she decided that she was going to go walk over to meet him somewhere and get it. And so I stayed home with Hayden, my little sister.
Hayden's your little sister?
Yes.
All right. And did you know the friend or the name of the friend that she was going to meet?
Cody.
All right. Did you know Cody?
I spoke to him a little bit. We had lunch together the first week of school, so I talked to him a little bit, but we weren't like, super close.
But you knew he was somebody that Alyssa knew and somebody that could have a book that she needed.
Yes.
You weren't it wasn't strange to you the idea that she would go to Cody to try to get that. Okay. Did she say anything to you before she left to go get that book?
She told me that she was just going to go meet him, and I guess my mom she would rather wait until she was home so that Alyssa could go get it, but she said that she needed it now. So as she was heading out the door, I told her that I loved her, and she told me that she loved me too.
Okay. Was that the last time you saw your sister?
Yes.
Before this incident, you said that you lived over by the base, is that correct?
Yes.
Did your family travel, why were you by the base?
Well, my dad's in the military, so we lived on base.
Now, during your dad's time in the military, have you lived in many different things?
Oh yes, yeah. We were lucky enough to travel a little bit of everywhere.
I was just going to get to that. Have you traveled as a family to a variety of different locations?
Yes.
All right, I want to show you State's Proposed Exhibit 192. Do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
And then ask you if you recognize State's 190,
Yes.
193,
Yes.
194,
Yes.
and 197.
Yes.
Are those fair and accurate depictions of family pictures that you have?
Yes.
Move for the admission of those.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Very noted.
Showing you State's 192, did you as a family go to the beach?
Yes, we did.
Who's who?
So the one on the left is Alyssa. The little girl in the middle is Hayden, and then I'm on the right.
Okay. Did you spend a lot of time with your sister Alyssa and your other sister?
Yes.
Did you do a variety of different things together?
Yes.
Showing you State's 193, what are you three sisters doing?
We were baking Christmas cookies.
Okay. And then State's 190, what's going on there?
I want to say that was probably the 4th of July, and that was at my grandparents' house in Texas.
Okay. Do you have relatives in Texas?
Yes.
Okay. And then I want to show you State's Exhibit 194. What's going on here?
I want to say we were in California. I don't know. It's been a long time, and we've been a lot of places. So I guess we were just kind of sightseeing, and my parents thought that that was a great moment to capture. I'm not a fan of the picture personally, but yeah, I think it captures kind of our personalities. I'm awkward and uncomfortable. Alyssa's sassy, and Hayden just doesn't really know what's going on.
That's precisely why I wanted to show you this picture. So tell us about the personality of your sister.
It's really hard to describe her. She was just so different. Sorry. She actually, do you have what I wrote? Does somebody have what I wrote?
I believe so.
I didn't,
You may.
I didn't, thank you. I didn't bring it with me. Sorry.
I'm sure you can look around and see if you see
Yeah, this one.
something. Okay. Could you tell us what that is on the back side? There's a number. You turn it over.
205.
Okay, so moving to admit State's 205.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
It's agreed.
Thank you. Sorry, I just wrote a little something.
Let me ask you a question. Will it help you in expressing your feelings if you can review that?
Yes. Okay. It is hard to describe her, but for this we were going through a bunch of pictures, and she had written something online. It was like a paragraph of autobiography, if you will. And she had a quote that I really loved, and it said, "I always wanted to fit in, but realized that I was born to stand out. So I no longer strive to be like everyone else." And that made my heart sore, because that's what she did.
Is that what we see in State 194?
Yeah.
A little bit of as you described it, sass.
Yeah.
Okay. Showing you States 197. What are we looking at there?
We had gone to the, I want to say it's Ethel M's chocolate factory here in Vegas, and we were going through the, I guess they have like a little garden type thing that's kind of desert, and we stopped and had to snap a picture because we were just so excited to be there. It was just a little like vacation away from home for a bit.
How has the absence of your sister impacted your coverage?
If I can look at this. It's really hard to sum up because she was my world. We were inseparable, and excuse me. So it's something that that we battle with a lot. When she died, I quit marching band because I didn't go to practice. I couldn't. I didn't really go to school very much. My grades slipped. Thanks to my teachers, I passed. But I didn't really have a whole lot of friends because she was my friend. You know, she was my best friend. So it was hard to make other friends. And she, excuse me, at Arborview when she died, I was known as the dead girl's sister. That's what people kind of knew me as. And so I didn't want to become friends with people who wanted to be my friend just for that. Because there are those people who are like, oh, wow, I feel so bad for her. She's been through so much. Let me be her friend. Or I just want to get close to this tragedy. Let me be her friend. And so I didn't really socialize with anyone. The few friends that I had, they were either friends I had before Alyssa died, or I never told them. And they didn't know who I was, because it made it kind of easier. And after she died, I got a lot of anxiety because I was afraid to be by myself, whether I was in public, in a place where surrounded by people. I was afraid to be alone because I didn't know what would happen. Excuse me. And even when we would go visit family, I felt really alone there because there were the grown-ups, and then there were the little kids, and the oldest cousin besides myself and Alyssa is 6 years younger than I am. So there's a big age gap. So Alyssa was, she was my partner in crime. She was the one that I would spend all my time with. So I would just kind of be taking up space because there would be the grown-ups and the kids, and I'm just there.
It's been about 5.5 years. Is he still affects you now?
Every day.
Awesome.
Well, her and I did everything together. We went to school together, ate lunch together, went to band practice together. We would go home, and she lived down the hall. And so after she died, we had to move because we were so close to where she was found, and we just couldn't do that. But it's hard because she's just not there. She would make us laugh, and she just had this cackle that could make anybody laugh, and we can't hear that anymore. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
The house is just really it's quiet now.
Okay. Let's end on a high note.
Okay.
Something positive. Let's talk about a partner in crime and the house being quiet.
Okay.
Let's go to something that describes her unique personality. You told me a story about the house, the stairs.
I did. When we lived on base, we had stairs, and it was just straight down. And at the very end was a little bit of tile, and then a closet door at the end. And so while my mom was gone, we had a genius idea to take a boogie board and kind of go sledding. And we put pillows and blankets down at the bottom because we didn't want to get hurt. And it worked really, really well until Alyssa went down at one point, and she was kind of a bigger girl, but her feet went straight through the closet door, through the pillows, blankets, and everything. And so we glued the door back together and told my mom that Alyssa had slipped, and they bought it for a while. So then the next time we decided to try it again, and we were perfecting the process. So we opened the door so as not to go through it. And as Alyssa went down, she went down at kind of an angle and she just knocked the door off its hinges completely. And I don't think they knew about that one. We didn't tell them. But, I'm sorry, go.
That story in essence describes your sister and her personality.
In every way.
And is that a memory that you still have today?
Yes, very much.
Thank you very much, Pastor.
Any cross-examination?
Right.
Thank you very much for your testimony here today. Please step down. Please be a subpoena. You may call the next witness.
Thank you. State called Jennifer Trumba.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you. Please be seated. Could you please state and spell your name for the record?
Jennifer O'Trumba. JENNIFER OTREN.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Jennifer, how many kids do you have?
I have 3 girls.
Who's your oldest?
Alyssa,
And when was Alyssa born?
on May 16th of 1996.
And who's your next daughter?
Megan,
And when was she born?
July 11th, 1997.
Okay, and your third?
Hayden, she was born August 2nd. She has
Let's just take a deep breath because you're talking real quiet.
Okay.
And so either of us maybe move this up just a little bit. Yeah, we'll both work on it. Where was Alyssa born?
in Fort Worth, Texas.
And is that where you were living at the time?
Yes, we were.
How old were you when Alyssa was born?
I was 17 years old.
And who's Alyssa's dad?
Spot.
And he's here with you today?
Yes.
When was Megan, or I'm sorry, where was Megan born?
In Fort Worth, Texas as well.
And how about Hayden?
She was born in England.
Why were you guys living in Fort Worth at the time?
That's where I grew up. That's where we grew up.
And did your family live there?
Yes, they did.
Do they still live in Texas?
Yes, they do.
Your mom and your dad?
Yes.
And are they here with you also?
Yeah.
And then you said Hayden was born where?
In England,
How is it that you guys get from Fort Worth to England?
Spot joined the military, and so we traveled the world actually. We had an opportunity to live abroad.
Okay. What was Alyssa like as a baby when she was first born? I mean, you were just 16 years old, so it was probably a big event for you as well.
She barreled into this world. There was nothing about this child that was quiet. I mean, she just, she loved to laugh. I mean, she was just 2-3 months old, and she had this insane laugh that I had never heard a baby. And she would laugh so hard, and we'd be crying. We're just laughing with her. And, I mean, at 200 months old, I guess anything could be funny, but it was crazy, and it just grew with her. I mean, she always had it.
Yeah, it sounds like that's something that lasted right through till she was 15. Is that right?
Yes.
Showing you, these have been shown to the defense, and I believe that they are all agreed to by stipulation.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Can you sit there?
Pardon me?
You want to tell me which one they are?
183, 184, 185, 186, 187, 188, 189, 191, 195, 196, 198, 199, 200, and 201.
Very many.
Thank you. Have permission to publish throughout.
You may.
Show me State's Exhibit 183. What do we see here?
That's when Alyssa was born.
And that's you clearly still at the hospital?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a
And-
yes?
Yes.
Thank you.
And State's Exhibit 184.
We were in California. We had gone to San Diego to visit grandparents, and we were headed to the beach that day, and she got all out. We were ready to go.
And is that where Scott's parents were living at the time?
And no, it was where my grandparents were living.
Oh, your grandparents. Okay. Typically a happy baby.
Very much so, yes.
State's Exhibit 185. What do you see here?
That is Alyssa and Megan when we went to Disneyland.
And how old were the girls at this time?
They had just turned 2 and 3.
Describe Alyssa and Megan's relationship throughout their lives.
They were always very close. I mean, they were 13 and a half months apart, so they don't remember life without each other. And there were definitely times where, you know, the sibling stuff going on. And I remember, you know, because we moved around so much, I remember, you know, just telling the girls that your friends are going to come and go. I mean, they would want to go hang out with friends and they would have issues with each other. I go, your friends are going to come and go, but we move around so much that you're just always going to have each other.
And is that something that resonated with them and stuck with them throughout their relationship?
Absolutely.
This picture that we see, does that kind of encapsulate how the two of them interacted throughout Alyssa's life?
Yes.
Showing State's Exhibit 186. Tell us about this picture.
This describes Alyssa's approach to life in general. She just was a cannonball in the water. There was nothing. She didn't put a toe in and, you know, kind of test the temperature. She just went all for it. I don't even think she could swim at that age, but you put some floaties on her and she just was ready to go. I mean, nothing stopped her.
And is that how you would characterize her in life?
Absolutely.
Tell us about that.
She just was all in. She wasn't scared of anything, and there were many times where she thought that she was older than she was, you know, 5 going on 18 or whatever. But she was just such a joy.
State's Exhibit 187.
That precious little thing. I was told that a spanking spoon would be a good idea, and so I would often put it up on top of the piano, and she would climb up and she would get it. And Megan wasn't able to really defend herself at that age, and so she would just go over there and no to Megan, and it was just. She was just precious, but I mean, she was just, there she is climbing again. I mean, you couldn't stop this kid. You turn around and she's on top of the refrigerator and you don't even know how she got there, but she was just so much fun.
Showing you State's Exhibit 188.
Oh, the poor cat. She loves that cat. That was my parents' cat, and she didn't get away fast enough that day, but she just was so sweet. She loved animals.
How old was Alyssa in this photo?
She was 5.
And what was she like as a little 5-year-old? What was her personality like?
She just made friends with everybody. She came home from kindergarten within the first week, and there was some new neighbors that had lived across the street. And one of the little boys was in her kindergarten class, and she just befriended him. I mean, she just was, waving, and she just wanted to be friends with everybody.
State's Exhibit 189.
And that was the first, I want to say that was the first day of kindergarten, and I made her stand there for a picture, and that just expresses her impatience for me sometimes.
Did this little sassy look kind of also encapsulate her throughout her life?
Oh, absolutely. I think I got that look on many occasions.
Tell us about this side of her.
She just, goodness, she was just so funny. I know she was little in this picture, but even, at 5th, I guess she was 14, I took her to the library with me a lot. I was studying anatomy and physiology, and I would take her and let her do her schoolwork. And so many times people would think that we were sisters, and she just thought that was hilarious and so much fun until I would, tell her, nope, it's time to go do your work, because she just kind of wanted to eat that up. But sometimes she would laugh, sometimes I would get that look from her, and then she would, go and do what she needed to do.
Showing you State's Exhibit 191.
That was just, we had just moved back to the States from England, and we had our new little bundle of joy with us, and so I think that was our last family photo.
So how old is Alyssa in this photo?
She would have been 9.
And how old was Hayden?
She was about 2 or 3 months old.
And we see their dad, Scott, in this picture, is that right? Describe Alyssa and Scott's relationship.
Sometimes they were like siblings, but they liked to play a lot. They had Nerf guns and run around and, pelt each other. I mean, that took us to the emergency room on one occasion where she about took his finger off. But it was, this has been really hard for him as well.
Tell me how this has affected his life.
He had to go back to work. There wasn't time to fall apart. And so he had to go back to England. That's where he had lived at the time. And I was here for school. And so I think he tried to bury things as much as he could. Then I guess about 2 years had gone by and he was deployed to the desert and he had a breakdown and was hospitalized and they sent him home. And on 2 separate occasions they've he's put before a medical board to see about retiring him because they're not sure if he can stay in the military with the conditions that our family has had to deal with.
Has this taken a toll on your relationship with your husband?
It's been very hard.
Showing you State's Exhibit 195. Tell us about this photo.
We were at Hayden's kindergarten graduation, and she just, she was just hitting a pose and was taking a picture of me because that was her.
State's Exhibit 196.
And she did some extra credit work for some class that she had for school, and she said if we go down and we take this picture and I get this information, then I'll get extra credit. So, we fought the traffic, and then it took us 45 minutes or an hour to get all the way down there. And when we're down there, she's like, well, I have 100 in the class, but this is just, just in case. And I was like, are you kidding me at that point? But it's a beautiful picture. I love it. I cherish that a lot.
Showing you State's Exhibit 198.
And then that was her sophomore year school photo. It was taken 2 days before she died.
So this is once she has enrolled at Arborview?
Yeah, that was her 3rd day at Arborview that they took school photos.
Tell us how it is that Alyssa started to go to school at Arborview.
We had moved Megan said to go to Arborview. It was a great school. And she had homeschooled the previous year. Just where we were living, it was just the best option at the time for her to do an online program. And so she was just ecstatic to be able to socialize because she was such a social butterfly that to sit behind a computer was difficult for her. And so she was beyond excited. And
how would she have described her year of homeschooling?
And she started to meet new friends at Arborview, and she told them she just got out of prison, and then they would look at her and she'd go, well, it was homeschool, but it's kind of the same thing. And she just it was not fun for her.
So you and your family moved to the northwest part of town specifically so your girls could go to Arborview?
Yes.
And how long had she been in school as of September 2nd of 2011?
She had gone for 4 days.
You kind of described her excitement level. Is there something that she would do every morning before she would go to school on those days?
We're not typically morning people, and she was up bright and early, and Monday she was chanting, first day of school, and I'm just not awake enough for that sometimes. And so then, Tuesday came around and it was 2nd day of school, and that just continued out through the week. And I have to say, it was a little bit annoying that she was so excited to be up so bright and early. But the memories of her happiness and excitement for her year at school and what she was about to embark upon was, I love that memory.
Okay, so let's talk about September 2nd. Where were you that day? Well, let me ask you this. Did she go to school that day?
She did not.
How come?
She had come in to me and she was up really late. The week was, we had gone from summer break to all of a sudden just having, just kind of a crazy schedule. And she was just really tired and she wasn't feeling great. And I figured it was the first week of school, so one day wouldn't have been, a huge issue for her to miss.
Did you end up staying home that day, or were you out of the house?
And I was out of the house. I had gotten an email from my physics professor that said that I needed to swap my classes because I had a morning class and needed an afternoon or vice versa. And so she said, you need to go down and do that. There's an opening available because it was one slot.
What were you doing at the time that was involved with school?
And I had been accepted into a respiratory therapy program.
Okay. What time do you think you left the house to go? Well, what school were you going to?
And so I was at CSN.
What time do you think you left the house to go to CSN?
Well, I had gone, and the line was so long, and I had to pick up Megan and Hayden from school. So I returned home to make sure that the girls got home from school and everybody was settled. And then I left. It was probably about 4:30.
When you returned home after you got Megan and Hayden, was Alyssa at the house?
She was.
Tell us about the last time you saw her.
She was working on a poem that she was supposed to write for an English class. She was just laying on the floor, the TV was on, and and I let her know where I was going. I left her, and I'd see her whenever I got back.
And when's the next time you talked to her?
I was standing in line for probably, 30 or 45 minutes, and I got a text from her, and I don't remember the exact time. But it was after 5 o'clock. And she said that she needed to go get a textbook. She didn't know when she was going to be back. But she was just letting me, know what she was doing.
Did she tell you where she was going?
She didn't, and so I picked up the phone because that didn't work for me. I needed specifics. I really needed to talk to her because I'm going to go and I don't know when I'm going to be back. Just wasn't how I ran the house. And so I picked up the phone and just called her rather than texting her.
Obviously, she had been homeschooled for the year before. So you were very much involved in what you deemed to be her safety and her well-being.
Absolutely.
And so that text kind of concerned you.
Yeah.
When you called her, did she answer?
Yes.
And what was your conversation?
And I said, who is it that you're going to see? Where are you meeting? And she's like, oh, well, it's Cody. And I was like, well, I don't know Cody. And she goes, I'm not sure where we're meeting yet. And I said, well, I need more specifics. So you're going to have to get that and let me know.
Was she still at the house?
She was at home.
When is the next time you talked to her after that phone call?
And then she called me back after maybe 5 minutes and said that she was going to meet Cody. They were going to meet at Cadwalader Middle School. I told her that I thought that was too far. I said, by the time that I get through all of this and drive home, I'll just run you over there and it'll be the same time. You're not saving any. She was like, no, I need to do this now. It was just very urgent. And I was like, it's not going to save you any time. I was trying to explain to her that I didn't want her just walking over there. I thought it was too far.
Did you feel at that time of Alyssa's life, starting a new school and being in a new neighborhood, she was trying in some ways to kind of spread her wings a little bit?
Oh, absolutely.
And did you sense that then? That she wanted her independence to go and get her book on her own?
Oh, yes.
And so after that phone call, she kind of insisted that she get the book now.
Mm-hmm.
When is the next time you talk to her after that?
So at that point, I reluctantly said, that's fine. You go straight there, come straight back. And then I was waiting in line and to deal with my class. At 6:38, she had texted me that she was walking down Grand Teton. Her phone was dying, and she would be home in about a half hour.
When did you get home?
And I had responded to her. I had a friend that was dealing with a crisis, and so I was helping her. And so I said, I'm helping her. I'm not sure when I'll be back, but 30 minutes. Later, to the dot, I texted her and I said, are you home yet?
So that was just after 7 then?
Mm-hmm.
So you were still gone when you sent that text?
I did.
Did you receive anything back?
I did not.
Tell us what happened after that.
I had a terrible feeling. I called her, she didn't answer. I called Megan, she said, no, she's not here yet. I continued to call Alyssa, and there was no answer. And so I immediately headed home because it just didn't set well with me.
And when you got home, clearly she wasn't there.
She was not.
How did that make you feel?
I was very concerned. I was a little bit frustrated because the first thoughts in my head are, you know, she found a friend and her phone's dead. She told me her phone's dying, which it oftentimes was. And they're hanging out at the park up the street, or.
So your initial reaction to her not being home is one of a little bit of fear, but mostly frustration of like, where's my kid?
Yeah, it just didn't feel right. Something was definitely off.
Okay. Tell us then how the next few hours of your life progressed.
I drove around. I walked through parks. I talked to people. I knew what she was wearing when she left the house because I had talked to Megan. And I was talking to friends. It gets sort of blurry, but I just remember I had to do something because it just wasn't right and it was dark. So around 10 o'clock, maybe 10:15, I had someone suggest that I call the police.
While we saw some pictures where, and you testified a little bit that she had kind of a bold personality and was a little bit spicy at times, was this completely out of character for Alyssa?
It was.
So you said just around 10 or just after 10, you were urged to call law enforcement.
Yes.
And did you do that?
I did.
Did you file a missing persons report?
Yes, I had an officer that came out to the house.
Okay. And what's the next thing then that you learned about where your daughter was?
I had called hospitals. I was suggested to call all the hospitals, call in a juvenile center, and so I did all of those things. And I think it maybe about 3 or 4 in the morning, I fell asleep for like 2 hours. I woke up in a huge panic because I ran to her room and she still wasn't there. And so I got dressed and I just started driving around. I went to the high school. They were having some practices for, I think it was some cheerleaders or color guard or something was having practices. And so I went in and was looking for the band director and I didn't see him. And so I left. Somewhere maybe around 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, I had contacted some friends and they started helping me put things together.
From 10 o'clock the night before, when you started calling law enforcement, calling hospitals, calling anyone that you could think of, until you saw friends around 11, was that entire time you were by yourself?
I had a friend of mine, and then Megan and Hayden were with me.
Of course, but Scott was in England at the time.
Right.
So you were going through all of this and processing where she was, really as the only adult though in your home.
Yes.
And then you said at around 11, some friends joined you.
Yes, I had a friend that started putting a flyer together for Facebook, and then my friends had called some additional friends, and so they had printed up a bunch of flyers, and we were going to start sort of canvassing the area with, with photos of her at local stores.
How were you feeling at this point?
Definitely panicked, terrified, scared. I didn't care, what had happened, just as long as she was okay, we could fix things.
So you and your friends then started canvassing the area. At some point, do you get word from law enforcement that Alyssa's been found?
Actually, it was one of my friends that she had friends that their dogs did nose work. And so I gave her some t-shirts of Alyssa's, and she gave them to the people that had the dogs. And
who are your friends?
My friend at the time, her name was Olivia. I can't even remember her last name.
Olivia knew people that had search and rescue animals?
Yes.
And then did they put together their own little search party?
Yes.
To try to help you guys?
Yes.
Then who do you first hear from that Alyssa's been found?
Olivia had called me. She said 911, put somebody else on the phone, and I was like, there's nobody here. I was in my car. I had gotten a random phone call from a flyer that said your daughter wasn't wearing what she said, or what you said that she was, but I saw her over by the Taco Bell. And so I had jumped in my car thinking, well, there she was, and I don't know what she was thinking, but I was fixing to, give her a piece of my mind, because I was just, it's terrifying.
Absolutely. So were you on your way to Taco Bell when you got the call from Olivia?
Yes, I was.
And tell us about that.
She called me, she said, you need to put somebody else on the phone, and I said, I'm by myself. And she said, they found a burned body in the lot. And I said, well, I don't know who that is. Like, I know it seems crazy. I was in such a fog, and I was so sure that this is where I was going and we were good, that I don't even think I really heard what she said. And I hung up, and I went to look for her where this woman told me that she was.
Was Olivia trying to impress upon you that they felt that this was Alyssa?
I believe so, but I gave her like no energy.
What happened after you went to Taco Bell?
And I had some other friends that met me there. We were talking on the phone at the time, just trying to kind of meet up. They had flyers. They were going to Albertsons and different places. And she wasn't there. And so I started driving, I guess, back towards the house that Olivia called me back.
What did she say this time?
And she said they found a burned body in the lot, and you need to come now.
Did you go home or did you go to the lot?
I headed straight to the lot, and I went up the street, and I immediately called my friends that I had met at that Taco Bell, and they said, are you okay to get there? And I said, yeah, I'll meet you there. And I headed up the street, and I got up to the stoplight, and my entire body went numb from, I couldn't move, I don't know how. I put my car in park and was able to call somebody, and they had to lift me out of my car because I had no function. I couldn't feel anything. It was just, I was just stuck.
Where were Megan and Hayden at this time?
They were at our friend's house that was in the next neighborhood over from our home.
Did they know what was going on?
They didn't. Megan knew that we couldn't, find Alyssa. Hayden had just turned 6, so I don't know how aware she was of things.
But Megan knew you were out looking for her sister.
Yes.
Did Scott know what was going on?
Yes, he did.
And so were you in communication with him over in England, trying to keep him up to date as to what was going on with his daughter?
A little bit. He knew that she was missing. It wasn't until, because of the time difference, he had gone to bed, and it wasn't until the news had put that her body was found to kind of put the Facebook photo and everything together, and we had family that found that and called him.
When you got to the desert and were lifted out of the car, was law enforcement there by then?
Yes, they were.
And then what happened?
I actually was told that I couldn't go out there, and at one point I remember I couldn't breathe, and there's so much of it is just such a blur. But at one point they told my friends, you need to get her out of here, and so we had a friend come pick me up and take me to their house, which wasn't far away.
How was it once you got to the desert that you found out and it was affirmed to you that the girl that was lying in the desert was Alyssa?
I knew it was her. My gut told me it was her. There was no confirmation of it because they had to use dental records, and so it wasn't for days that they could actually confirm that it was her, but I knew it was her.
In the following days, did you ever have a chance to see your daughter?
The day after the funeral, I had called Home Mortuary, and I said, you haven't cremated her yet, right? And they said, no, we haven't. And I said, I have to see something. I can't go. I could not wrap my head around that she was on my living room floor, and then she was in her, and I needed some bit of closure, and I needed to see something.
Were you able to get that?
They did what they could. They wrapped her. They said they looked for a hand and they couldn't find anything. So they said they had a foot that we could see, but we needed to bring a sock. And so on her left foot, from about mid-calf down, that's how I made that confirmation.
They were sensitive to you seeing her body because of the state of it, is that right?
Exactly.
So when you say that you were able to see her foot, they put the sock on her foot and you were able to at least touch your daughter and hold her for her last moments?
Yeah, they had wrapped her up very, very well so that we didn't see the condition of her body, because nobody wants us to remember her like that. And so I spent about 30 minutes with her.
After Scott got home and you started to go through the whole process of the funeral and all of that, did you all make the decision to move from this area?
Yeah, almost right away. We had only lived in that house for 2.5 months, but I needed to sort of reestablish her space, and her room was just too much. My bedroom windows overlooked the lot that she was in, and I just didn't want to see it every day.
Showing you State's Exhibit 199. What do we see here?
There was a temporary memorial that was created by the community at the corner of Grand Canyon, it's Grand Teton and TP. And D.R. Horton had come in to develop that lot that she was in. And to be respectful of Alyssa's life, they built a permanent memorial at that corner.
Showing you State's Exhibit 201. What do we see here?
And that's the plaque that's on the bench that's sitting there.
And now showing you State's Exhibit 200.
And that is a poem that was on a prayer card at her funeral. And the builders had asked me, what to put there. And I didn't really know how, I didn't really know what to say and what to put there. And I thought it was just very appropriate for her life that that be placed there, and so they put it on a big rock.
And I'm this next question will seem unanswerable, but tell us how this has affected your life.
As I've thought about this, it's really difficult to find words that emphasize the impact that this has had on all of our lives. I quit school, I quit life just about. I was present physically. Hayden and Megan's essential, their basic needs were taken care of, and I was there. But I wasn't involved in anything. It was hard enough to get through days. Brushing my teeth was a chore, and it didn't happen every day. I literally spent hours and hours and days and eventually years in bed because I just couldn't face it. The anxiety, the PTSD, just the overwhelming sense of that there was absolutely no control in my life it was just scary. And you try to find some sort of sense of normalcy, but it's just not there.
Even today, even after getting the verdict, even after all of these years, is it still struggle to find normalcy?
Absolutely. We're trying to eat dinner around the table again because for so many years it was too painful that one of us wasn't there. Little simple things like that have just been excruciating.
Was family dinner something that you all kind of took seriously when Alyssa was around, that was a time that you could all get together to meet after your days?
Just about every day, yeah.
And since her death, how has that changed?
We haven't had them. Most recently, we're trying to reestablish that. Hayden suffers from a lot of anxiety. She's really, really struggling. At 6 years old, her body she didn't know how to handle it, and so she had a lot of stomach issues, anxiety issues, or still to this day. She started a new school this year. She went to middle school, and for months she would throw up every day because she just can't handle it. And so we're trying to find time to just be together so that she knows that she's a part of our family and that she's loved.
Has she had to go into any kind of counseling or seek any kind of treatment because of the effects that this has had on her?
We all went to counseling for a long time. Hayden most recently she's going weekly because she's just really, really she's really struggling right now.
And how about Megan? What effects did you see on her?
And, that kid has amazed me, but she was 14 years old, and there were times where I would leave and go to the store, and she wouldn't want to go, and I was so hesitant to leave her because I thought, if she can't handle life without Alyssa, I was afraid where I would come home to, and I couldn't lose another one.
Fair to say the two of you have been a great source of strength to each other.
Absolutely.
Jennifer, if Alyssa was with us today, what would you want her to know?
We're just going to miss her. And her laugh, her craziness, her running into my room at midnight asking if we could FaceTime her sister in the dark down the hall. I mean, she was just such a light, and she was just so much energy in our house, and it's just not there anymore.
Your Honor, I'll pass the witness. I do have a number of letters from family, which the defense has agreed will come in by stipulation, and it's marked for identification as states 205, states 203, states 206, states 204, and states 202. And I'll pass the witness.
No objection. Thank you. Any cross-examination?
No, thank you.
Okay. Ms. Ocampo, thank you very much for your testimony for today. You may step down and you are excused. Does the state have any further witnesses they intend to call today?
No, we have one more, but that person will come tomorrow.
Okay, so can you start 10 o'clock on Monday?
I think that should be good.
All right, we will continue this part of the trial until Monday at 10 a.m. During this recess, you're going to come to talk to the person yourselves or with anyone else on any subject connected with this trial. Please watch and listen during the report of a commentary on the trial and person connected with this trial. Citing media information, including without limitation, newspapers, television, internet, radio, former stress, any opinion on any subject connected with this trial. Until the case is finally submitted to you, you're further admonished. You may not communicate with anyone, including your fellow jurors, about this case on your cell phone, through email, BlackBerry, iPhone, text messaging, through Twitter, any blog or website, or any internet chat room, or with any other social networking website, including but not limited to Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Thank you very much. See you Monday at 10.
Thank you. All right, for action,